Hi, I'm Mariah.
I'm Jody.
I'm Richard.
And I'm Nicole.
We're here at the Idlewild Butterfly Farm. We're gonna get a video tour of the insect lab and then check out the butterfly exhibit. Let's check it out. Come on, guys.
Hi, my name is Rachel, and this is Idlewild Butterfly Farm. You can visit us in Shelby Park in Louisville, Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 5. We raise butterflies, exotic insects, and beneficial insects for home and garden. We do daily educational and informative tours, so you can come by and see us, see the butterflies, see the bugs. So we've got the gift shop. If taxidermy is your thing, you can buy framed insect art, but this is where all the living stuff is. And this is the lab. This is where we raise all of the insects, including the caterpillars that become our butterflies. We're entomologists and owned and operated, so we're very comfortable in a lab setting. So this is where we operate out of.
And so you say a lab, and I see the USDA inspected.
Yes.
So you guys are an actual farm.
We grow livestock just like any other. Mine just happens to be very small. So we've got everything on this side of this table is going to be exotic insects. Everything behind here is going to be our caterpillars that become our butterflies. So, for example, these are all Monarch Caterpillars, and they are on Milkweed, which is their host plant. So this is kind of how we raise all of the caterpillars. We use these butterfly breeder pop-ups, and we take the appropriate plant for each species of butterfly and put it in there with them, put a batch of caterpillars on it, and we'll care for them every single day of their lives until they pupate or become the chrysalis, or the cocoon as we learned it in grade school.
Right. And so you were saying that different species of butterflies, they eat different things.
They do. It's called a host plant.
Host plant.
So caterpillars don't eat just any old green thing.
Mm-hmm.
They need very specific plants that are species specific. So for these monarchs, they're an example of a specialist. Okay. They only have one single host plant. No other plant will do, and that is only milkweed. Whereas something over here, like my hickory corn devil, is polyphagous, meaning he can eat a couple different kinds of tree leaves in his case.
Oh, cool.
And this is the biggest caterpillar in North America.
So that is a native.
This is a native creature. I know. He's like, leave off.
He's like, I am eating, please. Is that a big? How big will it get before it?
The size of a hot dog.
The size of a hot dog.
You could slap, when he's full size, you could slap this guy in a hot dog bun.
And how long does that entire process take from him being born to the hot dog?
It takes several weeks. This is kind of a slow grower, about 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
I've never seen a caterpillar like that in my life.
And they're native to Kentucky.
They are native to Kentucky.
I know you already said it, but still,
I know.
wow.
This does not look like a native caterpillar, but it totally is.
And so you say it's polyphagous. Polyphagous.
It can eat, so it's got hickory leaves right now, or black walnut, but it could also eat hickory, sweet gum. So it's got a couple of different options. These are an example of some of the exotic insects that we keep. These are the prickly stick insects. This is a stick insect that is native to Malaysia. Now, the great thing about stick insects is they don't all look like sticks or twigs. They can look like leaves and thorns and bark and all kinds of things that are found out in nature. So this one is more of a dead leaf mimic.
Is it trying to mimic being in the wind by...
Yes, they have a very unique way of
walking. They're like they shake
and moving. Yes, they're trying to blend in.
Wow.
We call this cryptic camouflage, meaning it's trying to look like something else in the environment. But you can also call that mimicry. We've got a couple different species over here.
Okay.
This is going to be a cecropia moth. This is another one of those large, chunky caterpillars. Yes, these are mature monarch enclosures. So the little things hanging from the top are the cocoons or the chrysalis. And that's another, all the butterflies and moths that we raise are natives. We don't do any tropical butterflies. So this is one that you can find on cherry trees and a couple other different types of trees.
how much death do you suffer like with the caterpillars? I guess.
Well,
like how many do you lose in the process?
If we were doing this outside,
Uh-huh.
less than 10% of my eggs would make it to an adult butterfly.
Okay.
By doing it here in the lab, we get yields closer to 60 to 80%.
Okay.
There's still a significant portion of death, but that goes hand in hand with the way the insects reproduce. They lay a ton of eggs. They make a lot of babies, knowing full well that a good chunk of them are not going to make it. It's survival of the fittest with insects.
That sounds like straight out of Pan's Labyrinth.
This is Shelly. She's my red one.
Aww.
Do you notice that they all have, like per the same species, have like different temperaments and personalities?
Sometimes, definitely,
Really?
especially with creatures like praying mantids. They definitely have a ton of personality that differs from individual to individual.
Wow.
Something like this stick insect, you know, eventually I get my favorites and I pull them out every time because I know that they're going to behave for me.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
And so this is Shelly. Shelly, the thorny devil stick insect.
Shelly?
Want to pet her?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this is one thing we allow visitors to do that makes us a little different from other facilities like us, is we'll actually let visitors into the lab. We'll take the bugs out of the enclosures and we'll let people touch and handle and hold them.
Does her leg that's missing, do those reproduce on these?
If it happened when she was little, then yes, she would be able to regenerate
Great.
that. Now that she's a full-grown adult, that damage is permanent.
And so I guess
But she's got 5.5, more than 5.5 leg left.
She's on the move.
She's pretty good.
Oh, her face is just beautiful.
Now, do you have
It
any?
is kind of cute for
She's not gonna fall, is she?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Now, do you have any runaways sometimes whenever they get out of the enclosure? Do you?
That stag beetle got away from us on our busiest day of the year, our 4th anniversary.
My arm doesn't move much longer. Wow.
And
Thank you,
we
Shelly.
eventually found that stag beetle under the fridge.
Oh my God.
So that's why he has something sitting on top of his enclosure now.
What's with her tail at the end there?
Oh,
or stinger?
Yep.
Or
A lot of people ask me, you know, why am I not afraid to handle this because of that big old stinger? This is an egg laying tube.
Okay, all right.
So it works like a shovel, pushes down into the dirt, and makes a little hole for her to lay an egg into.
She is so majestic.
This is an herbivore, so
Okay.
she eats living fresh leaves
Okay.
off of trees and shrubs. She can climb trees, but during the day, which is what they're doing right now, they're nocturnal. So they will sleep among the leaf litter and the wood.
Thank you for looking up, Shelly.
Yeah, that's okay. It's her job. She gets paid in leaves and housing.
Oh man,
She's an ambassador of sorts.
She is. That's what we call them. We call them our insect ambassadors, and we switch them out every day so that none of our bugs are like working full time.
Right.
right. You know, work-life balance.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Exactly.
Very cool.
I know, Shelly. You're waking up. You're seeing everybody.
She's very cute.
Now, how old is Shelly, and how old will Shelly someday be?
Shelly was born in October.
Okay. And how long are their lifespans?
They live to about a year to a year and a half. So she's getting to be a little old.
Okay.
But you know, she could have another full half a year ahead of her. Here you go, baby.
Thank you.
Bugs are
Thank
cool.
you, Shelly.
They're the most diverse animal on the planet. So there are more species of insect than there are any other kind of animal, and they have a huge impact on our lives. You know, even if we don't think about it, you know, they may be like, well, I don't have a lot of bugs in my house, but you still eat food.
Yeah.
And that comes from our pollinators.
Yeah.
And, you know, you'll have to deal with pests in your life, you know, that are harming property or health. You know, there are lots of bugs that affect health. They just kind of impact a lot of areas of our lives. We are seeing a lot of habitat loss to urban development. As our cities get bigger, it becomes kind of like a butterfly desert, you know, where there's not a lot of flowering plants for them. There's definitely not their host plants for them. And so they can't cross those. It's an effective butterfly dead zone. So what we can do is we can create little oases in the city for our butterflies and pollinators is one thing that we can do. We can also vote. Voting is very powerful. because a lot of this is now going out of our hands and into the hands of lobbyists. Because we're looking at things like climate change and overuse of pesticide or irresponsible use of pesticide.
Yeah.
Especially with herbicide, it kills a lot of weeds, but many native plants are susceptible to those herbicides, and those are often the host plants for our butterflies. They may want sand. They came from the desert, but since they just came in today and they don't have sand,
It'll have to do.
this is
They'll
good.
be okay.
They'll be okay overnight. We're bringing them sand tomorrow. Yeah, so decomposers. These are a pair of Madagascar hissing cockroaches.
Wow.
I can never get them to hiss on
I
command.
could kind of hear it.
They're so used to doing this that they
Right.
just kind of chill right out. And these guys have an important role in their native ecosystem as a decomposer. A lot of cockroaches do. The cockroaches we're familiar with are domestic pests. They're coming into our houses, they're eating our garbage, they're being very unhygienic, and they're a pest for a good reason. But most of the cockroach species in the world are wild animals, just like these hissing cockroaches. And instead of coming into a person's house and eating people garbage, these wild cockroaches live out in nature and they eat nature's garbage. So rotting vegetation, old fruit and veggies, they may nibble on a dead animal, they're not picky at all. So they have a role as a decomposer.
Can I touch them?
Yes.
I'm generally freaked out by these guys, and I would like to not be.
Yeah. And so,
This is a good way to get over a cockroach squick.
what are the little markings on the either side there? The little dots?
Those are the breathing holes called spiracles.
No, that's where they breathe?
And that's actually how they make the hissing sound.
Oh, I heard it a little bit there.
Yeah, she didn't like me touching her bum. They're pushing air out through those little tiny holes, and that is what makes the hiss. Another example of a decomposer down there, but it's not much to look at. Let's leave it for a moment.
Ooh.
These are the skull cleaners.
Something got to do it. So what are they nibbling on right there? What kind of setup you got for
Well, that thing in the middle is the remains of their previous meals.
Okay.
It's sitting on that piece of screen so it doesn't get embedded in the substrate,
Okay.
which is the cotton bedding.
Okay.
They just leave behind this mat of organic material.
Cool.
I sprayed some water in there, and then all the beetles came up out of the bedding
Oh, wow.
to drink.
And so I guess that if someone was wanting to get a nice skull from maybe a deer kill when they were going hunting,
And they want to get it cleaned
Yeah.
without boiling it or using chemicals.
Exactly.
or
Come and
something.
buy some of these.
Strip most of the flesh off of it, get it down to just the little bits on the bone, throw it in the colony, and they will take care of everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that thing just came in today, and it is something else.
Oh, that's gnarly.
Come on. Get mad.
Oh,
Get mad.
Oh, that is terrifying.
It's really fast.
Oh, jeez.
I was hoping it would run around the enclosure, but
These don't get domesticated, but you can somewhat socialize them, I guess.
well, not the centipede. He's going to be a looker only.
That is crazy.
But yeah, most of the insects go through a small socialization period. With something like the stick insects, it's basically nothing.
Okay.
They're not inclined to bite us or do anything to harm us. However, I do have like a tarantula over there who is our teaching tarantula,
Oh.
and that would be Miss Blanche. Hi, baby.
So,
And understandably, this is something that I would put through a very long socialization
Right.
process. But I now have complete faith in Blanche. She's done so many shows and tours and met so many people. She's a very relaxed spider. She's an excellent arachnid ambassador.
what would you say to someone that may be scared of spiders? If someone wants to.
Well, they are the most misunderstood, in my opinion, the most misunderstood animal on Earth. Most of them are incredibly shy, and some of them can be quite docile. And I'll tell them that spider bites are incredibly rare,
Okay.
especially confirmed spider bites. There are way more reported spider bites than there are confirmed ones.
Right.
It's just not an animal that is inclined to come up and bite us. Blanche here, her species is from Chile. She's a Chilean rosehair. But we don't have any tarantulas here in Kentucky. They're mostly found in the southwest United States.
Okay.
How old is Blanche?
We think she's under 10 years old.
Oh, well, so spiders. So
Yes, tarantulas can live, especially a female tarantula, can live a very long time, 10 to 20 years. The longest one on record was 43 years old when she kicked it.
43.
Yeah, so we're talking a tarantula old enough to start having a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
This is insane.
She's very pretty.
So if we take really good care of Blanche, she could be with us for the long haul.
That's awesome.
And so I've heard that tarantulas, they molt, they shed their skin.
They do.
How often do they
All
do that?
arachnids and insects have to do that to grow.
Okay.
Now that she's mature, she only molts about once a year plus.
It kind of looks like buck teeth out in front. What are those?
Her lady mustache. That's the muscular top part of the fang.
Okay.
So the fang, the sharp part, is actually
Underneath.
swung up underneath.
Oh, right.
And so where are her eyes?
It looks like this little tuft of hair right front and center, and it's a cluster of tiny little eyeballs.
Wow. Hey. I've never thought I would get this close to one.
Me neither. I've only ever seen them in
She's
movies.
very chill.
Yeah, I know they're getting a little bit more popular as pets now that people are wanting to get a little freaky with it. So it's really awesome.
Yeah, and there are some great starter tarantulas out there, some great docile, handleable pet tarantulas. Chilean rosehair is one of them.
And so these are Monarch Caterpillars.
They are.
And what is is that poop?
That is, yes, that is frass, which is the scientific name for insect poop.
We're gonna have to put that on the vocab.
Yes, that's frass with an F-R-A-S-S.
So how much longer until this caterpillar, say, pupates?
He's probably only got a week left.
Okay.
He's getting pretty big. All right, did you all want to head outside the butterfly?
Yes.
Sounds good.
These smell so good. I love it. That's a great hydrangea bush. These are huge.
So you can tell this is milkweed.
Yeah, how?
So-
How can you tell this is milkweed?
So oval leaf,
Okay.
and so you can see that it's growing in an opposite pattern. You can see that the two leaves are branching off at the exact same point instead of like zigzag. And then the easiest way to tell is to just break off a leaf.
And you get to see the milk.
Yeah,
Right.
it's the sap coming out.
That's cool. So what are these guys around it?
This is an oak leaf hydrangea.
Oh.
So different kind of hydrangea than
Because the
people are
hydrangea
used
leaves
to.
are like this.
Yeah. So this is kind of a snowball bush.
These are so pretty.
But the thing is that on these hydrangeas, all of these what look like flowers, they're actually bracts. They don't actually have any kind of value to the bugs. It just looks really awesome.
Oh man. Fun fact about the flowers though is that all hydrangeas are the same. Their color is determined by the acidity or just basic
Alkalinity, yeah.
alkalinity, the pH of the actual soil. So blue and pink hydrangeas, this hydrangea could easily be blue or pink if you change the acidity of the dirt. Let's see, you can see a little bit of the pink. I bet I don't know which is which, but I'm willing to bet that means the soil is just a touch acidic, probably from the rain.
So here we have sunflowers, and an easy way to tell it's sunflowers. One, it has this kind of heart-shaped leaf, right? But sunflowers grow very tall, and they have these really neat flower heads. And these flower heads actually are composed of multiple flowers inside here. And that's where the seeds come from.
Aren't these zinnias pretty? How many different colors? Wow.
This is one of my favorites.
Hold on, let me get a
Black locust.
hold on, let me get this shot of this bumblebee. Oh god. Okay.
So,
Thank you.
So here, this is actually one of my favorite trees. This is called a black locust. And the way I can tell it's a locust tree is that these have very interesting shaped leaves. It's actually one leaf is this. This is called a compound leaf. And so you can see that it's opposite and there's a lot. But it's not a honey locust. A honey locust has tiny leaves. You'll see them a lot in parking lots because they're heat resistant.
They have huge thorns.
That's what makes it a locust. So
If your honey locust of any kind doesn't have thorns, it's been bred that way. Natural ones have thorns.
and these have gorgeous white flowers every spring. It's awesome for pollinators.
Catnip?
I think it might be. I'm not really sure about
It's
that.
not lavender. I don't know.
These are brown-eyed Susans.
Oh, look, I love how, look how these
These are tomatoes.
Look, this is morning glory, just like at home. And it's wrapped itself around this locust. It's gonna bloom probably in the next day. Look, Jody, I found morning glory wrapped around this locust.
What?
Yeah, I recognized it from at home.
Yeah, look at all the morning glory.
Yeah, oh, yeah, here's all the morning
Oh,
glory.
man.
Maybe ours isn't getting enough sun. Look, all theirs bloomed and died already.
It's much bigger than the caterpillar.
That just proves what a great pollinator it is, huh?
Yeah, this is a butterfly bush. Now, there are tons of monarchs inside the house.
Yeah, we could actually go in it, but like this is special because it came naturally, huh?
Yeah.
A wild monarch, nice. Yes, they love this verbena plant. They come nectar on this, and then they just move over here to lay the eggs.
Oh, is this
Awesome.
milkweed?
Yes, this is a swamp milkweed.
Oh,
Swamp.
I've never seen milkweed that looks like this before.
It's covered in aphids, so it's not looking its best.
That's okay.
You break it, and this latex sap comes out.
So that's latex.
Wow.
Yes, it's latex, and it has some toxins in it, so it makes the milkweed plant inedible by most animals, except for a few specialist species, and the monarch is one of them. So since this food source is not palatable to most organisms, if you can move into that niche, that's free food.
Right.
And so does that make the monarch then poisonous to other...
It does.
Oh,
Both the
that's
caterpillar and the butterfly. So they can safely eat this, they sequester the toxins, and it makes them toxic in turn.
Cool.
Oh, that's smart. Smart on their part.
It's very cool.
So that's why they're so distinctly colored as caterpillars. It's warning colors, epistemitism.
So I was wondering, are the caterpillars, are they born able to eat the milkweed? Like, do they have a special enzyme that able to process it, or do they have to acquire like?
So that's a cool
immunity?
question, because they have a certain mechanism to deal with that. The newly born caterpillars can't ingest too much of that toxin-laden latex. So what they do is, as soon as they hatch and they eat their own eggshell and they're ready to move on to the plant, they'll bite a little hole in the leaf and cut off a section of the leaf from the latex flow, and then they'll eat that. And when they're big enough so that they can really chow down on those leaves, or until the point they're big enough to chow down on those leaves willy-nilly.
So they kind of bleed it out so they can eat it.
Yep. That's what they do when they're little bitties.
Hi everyone. Oh, we had some of these until
Looks like a big orange daisy.
Yeah.
Not this one, but the one behind it. That is a Mexican sunflower, and that's one of the best. That's one of our favorite butterfly garden plants. It attracts so many of them.
grasshopper.
Yeah, it's just little bug wonderland in here.
Yeah.
There's so many.
What plant is this with these gorgeous blue flowers?
Yeah.
Salvia.
Salvia.
It's a variety called, I think, Velocity Blue. Yes, even butterflies like to catch some shade when it gets this hot. So there's actually several of them on this. If you stand up, there's a good 3 of them hanging out.
Perfect.
This is a type of flower that is very favorable to butterflies. It's got a bunch of these tiny little individual flowers on the flower head. So they like to visit flowers that are like that. So you'll see this verbena in here. The lantana is the same way. The center of the zinnias is also like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Coneflowers are another good one. So we raise the butterflies for exhibits. For example, if you've been to the Louisville Zoo anytime in the summer in the last 3
I
years,
was there a couple hours ago.
you might have seen the Butterflies and Blooms exhibit, and we raise all the butterflies for that. We designed that exhibit for them. We also do them for home and classroom projects where you can, do a metamorphosis life cycle project in your own home or classroom. And we can also release them at special events like weddings, memorials, birthdays, graduations, whatever you can think of. So that was a look at Idlewild Butterfly Farm. Thank you for joining us on this video tour. You can come see us Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 5 for the rest of the year. We have our gift shop available as well as tours of our insect lab and butterfly flight house. Come see us.